Okay, so we're dividing this problem. It's 5.3 day one, long division. Yes, it's very, very long, and I'm going to do all the steps for you so you can see them. I'm going to go try to explain it, so it's going to look very overwhelming because I'm going to condense it or like show it as much as I can. So step one is going to be to divide. This is long division, kind of like we did in elementary. It just looks a way much more different. We're going to divide always the inside by the outside, and only the first term for step one. 4 divided by 4 is 1. And then when we divide the x's, we actually subtract the exponents. It's 3 and 1, so we get 2. So that answer, I'm going to use it twice. First, I'm going to write it up here because it's part of my answer. And 2, I'm going to use it to multiply on step 2. The answer from step 1, we multiply with step 2 with whatever I'm dividing by my divisor. And here you have parentheses, so we have to distribute. When I distribute, I multiply the numbers, I get 4. For the x's, I add the exponent, so we get x3. Multiply again, multiply the numbers. Can't do anything to the x's, so we keep it as it is. Like that. Now, I'm trying to set it up for my next step, which is to subtract. That means I'm going to line up my terms and subtract them. 4 minus 4 is 0. They cancel out. 13 minus 1 is 12x squared. And now my last step is to bring down my next term. Just like we did in 4th grade. Now, we will have to repeat the steps because I brought something down. That means I still have something to do. We always divide the inside by the outside. My inside is now 12x squared. The outside is 4x. That didn't change. 12 divided by 4 is 3. For the x's, we subtract the exponents. 2 minus 1 is 1. There's my answer. I write it up on the top. And then I use it to multiply with the outside. When I multiply the numbers. 4 times 4. Sorry, 3 times 4, which is 12. And for the x's, I add the exponent and get x squared. Now multiply the other terms. 3 times 1 is 3. And bring the x over because we can't really get rid of it. So I'm going to write that here so I can do my next step, which is to subtract. Okay, so the 12s cancel out nicely. 27 minus 3 is 24x. And then I'm on my last step for this one, which is to bring down. If you want to go ahead and stop the video and go over the steps, you're fine. You can always slow it down. But I'm going to keep on going and show you what the next step is, which is to divide by the inside again, which is now 24x. Divided by 4x. Which gives me a 6. The x's cancel out. So I have a plus 6 on top. And that's what I'm going to use on my next step to multiply with the outside, which is 4x plus 1. That's my divisor. I get 24x plus 6. And lucky me, when I subtract, it all cancels out. That means I have no remainder. So my full answer is just 1x squared plus 3x plus 6. All right, so I am going to show you one more question, just because this one, it is in standard form. My exponents are 3 and 2, but I'm missing some exponents, so we need to add them as placeholders. So here my exponent is 3, 2, 1, and 0. That helps me because that way when I subtract, I can line up my x's nicely, especially when you're dividing by x squared minus 16. I have a placeholder here that will also help a lot. You don't have to put them, and it's not like a mandatory thing. But if you don't, and your x's don't not line up nicely and you don't notice it, you're going to subtract the wrong terms. So we're going to do the same first steps. We divide the inside, which is 4x3. My divisor, which is x squared. The 4 stays. It has nothing to be reduced by, but the x, subtract the exponents, and I get 4x1. My answer from the first step is what I'm going to use to multiply by my divisor, Just x squared plus 0x1 minus 16. 4x1 times x squared, where the 4 has nothing to be multiplied, so it stays 4. And the x's, you add the exponent, so we get x3. Here, the 4 and the 0 are 0, but I'm going to write them down because it's my placeholder. We can't get rid of it. x1 and x1 is x2 because we add the exponents. Here, 4 and negative 16 is negative 64. And bring the x because we can't get rid of it. So now I'm set up for my next step, which is to subtract. The 4x squared cleanses out nicely. Negative 4 minus 0 is just negative 4x squared. And 0 minus negative 64 becomes a positive 64x1. Now we're at the last step for this round, which is to bring down that 0. We have to do this one more time, sorry. Step 1 is to divide the inside, which is negative 4x squared, by the outside, which is x squared. Notice the x's cancel out, and we're left with negative 4. That negative 4, we're going to use it to multiply by my divisor, my outside. Just like we did earlier, the negative 4 doesn't really do anything with the x squared. It doesn't match. It doesn't mix. So we're going to leave it as it is. Don't change it. Negative 4 with 0 is 0, but I cannot get rid of it because it's my placeholder. And at the end, I have a positive 64. Now I can subtract. When I subtract, these cancel out because they're the same. 64 minus 0 is just 64. But 0 minus 64 is negative 64. There's nothing for me to bring down. That tells me I'm done. This is my remainder. I'm going to write my answer as 4x1 minus 4 with a remainder of 64x1 minus 64 over what I divided by my divisor, which is x squared minus 16. Final answer.